Which side am I supposed to be looking at? I guess I'm going to try this side over here. Um, I'm back with a question. I called my spouse a little earlier and I told him that um, I wanted to go to a certain restaurant. And after I sent a text, actually, that's what I did, to ask him if that was, the restaurant that he wanted to eat at, or did he want me to pick something up. So, anyway, I said that to say this, just to ask you a question. Do you think, even as a spouse, that it's improper for the wife, or a female in this instance, to ask a man out to dinner, even if they're married? Or whose responsibility is it? Do you think that it is overbearing for a woman to say, hey, I want to go here to eat? Um, Trying to just figure some of these things out, because in today's society, there are a lot of ladies, girls, that set the pace for what needs to happen because they feel that their spouse or significant other isn't going to take the initiative to do that. So then they'll end up just sitting at home doing nothing or what have you. And that's why I prompted to ask you this question. And by the way, I don't know if you remember that plant that I had that was over there that, well, anyway, it didn't survive. It did, but it didn't. And I'll talk to you about that later. I had to actually move it somewhere else. But I might mention that on this video as well. But what I'm trying to figure out is, when is it someone's place to make decisions in the household? When we first got married, which was 30 plus years ago, I thought that it was a woman's place to just follow whatever a man said. So I found out quickly that, I was married to someone who was used to having a strong um, female force. I'm trying to duck this light here. I'm probably going to try to figure something else out, because I'm getting a glare, and I know you guys are probably saying, why is she still talking with this light in the glasses? But anyway, um, we're going to ignore that and keep it moving. Don't look at the glare on the glasses, because I like these glasses. And also, you probably know that I do love wild hair. That's my thing. I love it. I think I'm not alone in that. But anyway, I do love wild hair, and I love things that are different. Hence these glasses. And I really would like some more like that. But as you can see, I am digressing. I shouldn't be. But anyway, he was used to a strong woman, his mom, in his life. So he was used to her letting them know, his kids, what to do and how to do and what have you. And I came from a family that was just the opposite, to where, my mom also was a strong woman, but she, was there to say, my dad made all the rules, and she enforced them. So that's where I came from. So going into this video, I'm just trying to figure out, how do you merge those two backgrounds without having I don't want to take my glasses off, but it just keeps glaring up. Anyway, how do you manage those two strong backgrounds into one household? At the beginning of our marriage, I remember thinking to myself, my mom used to do all the cooking in the household because she was a stay-at-home mom. My dad worked, and this was when he was still alive. Another story I'll mention to you, but she was the house manager. She managed everything in our home, made sure everything was taken care of. Even though my dad worked, she made sure that the bills were paid on time. She made sure that everything was in its place, as far as even taking care of us. There were 5 of us, and she made sure that she got to our schools and what have you. So I was used to that type of background, where the mom took care of everything. But then I didn't realize, it sounds crazy, when I got into my own place with my own child and husband, that, hey, you're now the mom. And sometimes we're not prepared for something like that, because I was so used to being taken care of. Obviously, we did chores and everything in the household. I didn't do a whole lot of kitchen type things. I didn't cook. My mom always had us to do dusting and cleaning and going outside helping our dad wash the cars and cutting grass. Now we did do that, but as far as being in the house with her, cooking, we did have to cut potatoes for like potato salad and the greens. She always had me clean the greens because it took me 2 days because I didn't want all those the extra protein, I'm just going to put it that way, on the greens. So it took me a long time to sit there and look through each piece of the leaves of the greens to make sure that we didn't have any extras cooking in with the greens. But anyway, that was my part of that. But as far as actually putting the meal together, no, that was her domain. That was her kitchen, you know. So, but we were outside as far as helping our dad with washing the car and what have you. And in those days, washing the car meant that you washed every little detail, even down to the fact that we had white wall tires on our cars, and you had to have this hard brush. And I know a lot of you young people do not know what I'm talking about, but anyway, we had to use this like scrub brushes to clean the white wall tires, and then after that you had to go back and wash them and shine them and everything. But I was saying that just to say this: how do you determine who does what in the household? Who is the one who's designated to pay the bills, or do you pay your bills separately? Do you have, as a wife or as a mother or as the woman of the house, do you have your separate bills? Does your husband or your spouse have other bills? Do you merge all of your bills, all your money together, and one person pays the bills? I'm curious to know. And this, like I said, it just prompted me after I sent that text to say, okay, what do you want to do? Do you want to eat in? Do you want to let's go out? Do you want to whatever? And in the past, I had never really initiated that because I thought that was something that, you know, if my spouse suggested, okay, I want to eat shrimp or if I wanted, you know, steak or whatever it is, then we would go where it is he wanted to go because I'm not hard to please. Wherever I go to eat, I can always find something that I like. So it's never been a problem for me. But for him, he's picky. So we always go to wherever he wants to go. If we say, you know, if I'm not going to cook, and I'm saying not going to cook as if, you know, I cook a whole lot. I can cook. I can survive, obviously. Is that something in me? But anyway, I obviously can survive. I can cook. But what's so strange is that I didn't have the desire to really want to do large meals or anything like that until my kids got older. They were really, really active in different things. My son did sports all the time, and then my daughter did cheerleading and gymnastics and what have you. So we were always on the go. So every once in a while, you know, 2 or 3 times maybe out of the week, I would cook near the end of the weekday. But other than that, we grabbed something to eat. We, you know, we ate on the go. So with that being said, I know that I've been envious before of moms who do cook every day and still, you know, work a full-time job and take their kids to sports and whatever it is. But I'm not ashamed to say, you guys rock, because I know I was not able to do it. So anyway, that's that. But my kids, they survived, so they're good. You know, they may not have had the home cooked meals like, you know, other kids all of the time, but they did have home cooked meals. And then on Sundays, we used to go over to my mother-in-law's house to eat because she wanted that family setting. So we would do that then. But even going back, looking at the responsibilities in the household, when I first got married, we had an apartment. We had to determine who's supposed to take out the trash. Honestly, the trash can started overflowing. I was looking at him to do it. He's looking at me to do it. So we decided, you know, whoever gets to it first, and when it fills up, you know, empty the trash. But things like that, I think with new couples or couples, it's very important to go through marital counseling because something as simple as that can cause so many arguments. Finances can cause arguments. Spending. How well do you save money, or do you save money at all? Who cooks in the household? Cleaning. Who's going to do the cleaning? Who's washing clothes? These are things that I think are crucial, that young people need to, as older people, we do need to have these conversations with younger people in order for them to have successful marriages. Because I know within ours, we've had so many tips just on those types of things. And I'm not even going to call them small things. I'm going to say those types of things. I really wish that I moved straight from my parents' home, or should I say, from my mom's house at the time, to an apartment with my husband. And I'm just going to put it this way, and my eldest child. So I didn't really have a whole lot of experience as far as running a household. I did not go to college straight after high school. I did have a child later. I mean, I think I was about 19, so I was out of school, but I just did not go to college at that time. I think it's important, even if you don't go straight to college when you're out of high school, to try and live on your own for at least a couple of years, so that you'll know what you can do on your own besides always relying on someone else. The flip side of that is, if you become so independent, it's hard to merge with someone else to say, to compromise. I'll put it that way. Because you're so used to doing things on your own or your way. So some people may have been out on their own, but then when you merge with someone else, as far as in a marriage, it's hard to give up that control. It's hard to look at someone else's way of doing something. So even with my marriage now, my husband would say, well, he's gonna, when he washes the clothes, he said he washes them, and then he folds them, and he gets it out of the way. And then when I do it, I may wash a load, put it aside, come back and get it later on. But the difference is I'm continuously doing that, and he may do that every once in a while. So it's good if you're gonna, wash the clothes. And then when he does to wash them, he does fold them, and he puts, my clothes on the bed for me, and then I'll get it. The difference with me is that it may take me a little bit longer to say washing and folding, but when I put them up, there's nothing left, for anybody else to do. What needs to be in the drawer, in the dresser drawers are there. What needs to be hung up, it's hung up. So it's completely done in that sense. So he doesn't like the way that I do that. I've already told him he could take over that responsibility if it bothers him that much. So apparently it doesn't bother him that much for him to totally take over that responsibility. I tried. I thought that would work, but anyway. But as far as the household responsibilities are concerned, the majority of the responsibilities still lie on me. He does help out some. In the same sense, I work a full-time job. So from what I can consider, I help him out as far as paying the household expenses. It's not like I have the whole household expenses on his shoulder and I'm not helping out. So that's always been the situation. Now, another thing I'd like to discuss is, how do you ladies feel about that? Do you think that you should be also out in the workforce and then coming home to take care of the majority of the household responsibilities? Or do you think that you should be at home taking care of all the responsibilities, and your husband is out working? Let's take it even further. There's some men who are better in the household as far as working and taking care of the kids than their wives are. What do you think about that? I'm a little on the fence about it, because I don't know. For some reason, it seems like to me, if a man is at home, if he's pleased with it and it's something that he's really, really good at, I don't know why I would think that it would take a little bit from his manhood. And I'm probably wrong. I don't care. Somebody comment, let me know. We'll talk about it. And I think previously, well, even now, had I been someone that said was able to fully take care of the responsibilities financially of the family and my husband didn't have to work, would I have decided that that would be something that's feasible for us? Yeah. Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. If I'm making, six figures and or seven or more than that, and I'm pleased with what I'm doing, and it helps us out in our family for my spouse to be at home taking care of the kids. I don't see a problem with it. Now, just like if the tables were turned and there's the husband out working and the wife at home, it would be the same to me. It would be the same respect. I wouldn't expect for that person that's out working to have to come home and do everything in the household. I wouldn't expect for them to have to come home and make sure that the kitchen is clean, that the clothes are washed, that the kids have their homework completed, and and that would just be wrong, and that's on either end. But do I think that other responsibilities should be shared? Yeah. If someone works at home, and it is work. If you work at home, the brunt of the responsibility, I would have to say, would be on that person. However, as far as nurturing or taking care of the kids, or even in the sense of taking the kids out to the park, should that other person who's outside of the household not do that? Of course not. I mean, it's still a family. Everybody should be giving 100%, and I guess that's really what I'm trying to narrow it down to. I don't think that it should be called 50%. I think it should be called 100%, because you give 100% all to your family. That's your team. That is that's your foundation. So lots of discussion has been on the fact of whether or not a man's manhood is taken if he works out of the home. I'm not really saying if he works for another company out of the home, but I mean if he is the homemaker. you know I think it's healthy in a relationship, even for kids, to see that dads can take care of them as well as moms. So I don't have a I don't have a problem with it. I think as long as it works for your family, it works for me. Or as they say, if you like it, I love it. So anyway, all of this discussion just came up with about the fact of me sending a text saying, hey, do you want to go out to dine in a restaurant, or do or should we just do pick up? And that's never been anything that I've um, been aggressive with in the past. And then when I did it, it was like, okay, we've been married for 30 some years. Is this, it's just being too forward or what have you? But anyway, now back to what used to be here. There used to be a live, like a palm plant. I don't know what you want to call it. It was a plant. And I tried to make it work. I think I had it for about 6 months. Beautiful when I first bought it. It was just gorgeous. Filled this whole area, and I like that. I like when it fills the whole area. I'm a thickie, and I like thick plants. I like big hair. Anyway, it was beautiful. So little by little, I could see where it had some yellow leaves coming up. So I thought, well, maybe I overwatered it. So I stopped watering it so much, and I let it get a little dry before I watered it again. So I thought, well, maybe I'm putting too much water in it when I do water it. Maybe it's just too much. So I tried everything, and no matter what I tried with that plant, it seems like it either had too much water, not enough water. Then I thought, well, maybe it's just not getting enough sunlight. So I kept the window blinds open so that it could get some light. And finally, I don't know, it must have been a week or two ago, I realized this this plant relationship just isn't working out. We're just not meant to be with each other. But I ended up, this is what I'm gonna tell you, because you guys, you're my crew, you're my people. I put that poor little plant outside in the garage. And I'm laughing about it, and it's a shame, but yeah, I did it. I put that little plant out in the garage, and let me tell you what happened. After a couple of days, and I was trying to decide what I wanted to do. Did I want to actually try to plant it in the backyard to see what happens then? But I put that plant out there, and that plant actually looked like it was happy outside instead of being, as my mom used to say this old word, cooped up in the house. That being said, and we're talking about relationships. Do you know sometimes there are some people who they're just not going to be for you, and you're just not for them. And sometimes you've got relationships where people just try to make it work anyway, and it's just miserable. Just like this little plant that I had back there, and I tried to water it. I tried to not water it. I tried to let the sun get to it. I tried to do everything I could, but it was just an outside plant. Life is like that. You've got, I've heard on some talk shows where lots of women, more so than men, they'll say, even in Christian talk shows, well, I just need prayer for my husband, or for my spouse, or for somebody that I'm with, that they would, they would change and they would be better. And I heard this one person said, and I thought it made a lot of sense. Why would God change one person just for you? Maybe, that person just isn't for you. And it reminded me of that plant. If you're not compatible with someone, don't put yourself and don't put them in that much misery. If the smallest things, like whoever pays the bills, or whoever, if someone doesn't want to work and they still want to live in a household with you, and you feel like that is something that you just cannot. Now, if somebody lost their job and they're looking for another job, that's understandable. But if you have someone who just does not want to work, they do not want to do anything else in the household, they don't want to cook or clean or take care of the kids, you've got some people who, and I'm just going to say on the male's end, they just want to play video games all day long. They want a woman to come home, bring them food and take care of them. There are some women who just want to look at TV all day and, may not want to clean the house or take care of kids or whatever it is. You got to know what's good for you. Just like with that plant did not want to be a part of inside of the household. I finally had to let little plant go because it just became too bothersome for me, or cumbersome for me, because I tried to do what I could do for it, and the poor little plant was just still, it just didn't want to be in this purple room. Maybe that's it. Maybe it just didn't like purple. Maybe it didn't like me. I won't be offended because I put it in the garage. But that being said, I'm not so cruel. I did try to work with the little plant before I put it out to pasture, but sometimes things just aren't for you, and sometimes you're just going to have to realize it. So, but some things are for you, and when they are, nurture it. That's all for today. Bye, guys.